Want to break down on some of the latest topics from college to the pros? We interview many individuals to share their knowledge about the news stories surrounding the teams and its players. This is Nothing But That Sports Talk. Welcome to Nothing But That Sports Talk. I'm Rafique Louison alongside a very special guest, Jasmine Baker, another future up-and-coming sports journalist sitting right in front of the FaceTime tube.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you for having me.
Okay, so why don't you give me a little bit about why you got into sports journalism from education background, what you've been doing while you was in college, and like how you get to where you are right now.
Okay. Yeah, so in 2016, I started off basically doing, it's like, what is it called? When you basically have work study. And I had met my mentor, who was my boss at the time. I was essentially looking for a job, and he just so happened to be like, follow up with me, and I kept following up with him, and eventually he gave me the sports beat at our radio station to cover online. And so I would produce my own interviews, and I started covering college football. Eventually our team went to the national championship the year after I started, and we won the national title. So it was an incredible experience. I was flown all over the country to do that, and I hadn't even graduated yet, and so that was an amazing experience. Then from there, I started covering college basketball for our university. That was another amazing experience. Got to go to Colorado to do that at one point. And then from there, I realized, well, let's see how much further this can go. So I started covering college basketball within the Dallas area. Then I did started doing professional sports in Dallas too. And that really was the thing that really started me, was in college. And I just was like, I told my boss, I said, listen, if the boys don't want to work on the weekends, let me know. I'll take whatever you got, I'll do it. And being able to show that type of initiative really propelled me. And so to the point that this past weekend, I was in New Orleans covering my first Bayou Classic, which was a blessing, again, to another one of my mentors who had me out there, and I got to go with my family, and it was an amazing experience. So,
Man,
yeah.
that has got to that is a lot of experiences that you gained during your time covering sports. Because of okay, you mentioned you covered the BYU Classic. Like, what goes through your mind when you saw all those games taking place?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because, like, for example, with the Bayou Classic, you have it's two-story programs in a storied city. It's a storied classic. They're going on their almost 50th year of the Bayou Classic, and to see that type of culture the entire weekend, and seeing Black people in HBCUs and Battle of the Bands and these type of things being celebrated in such a beautiful city like New Orleans, it was an incredible experience. Like, to me, it's just more of an experience than the actual game itself, and to see Southern come back like they did was an incredible experience. And it's interesting because I've had the opportunity to cover the WNBA. To me, that's been such a humbling and beautiful experience, to see a league that's predominantly Black thriving like they are. And when people complain a lot about the WNBA and how the business is being done, but to me, I can't help but see the beauty in terms of what's going on in that league, and how it's propelling so many amazing athletes. Being able to cover that, but also meeting so many amazing people, so many amazing women in this sport, and sports in general has been amazing. But covering the games is a lot of fun. I've kind of gotten to the point too where I have it down to a science now, in terms of when I'm covering football, when I'm covering basketball. I got to see Coco Gauff in an exhibition match not too long ago here in Dallas. So it's things like that I'm getting to start to expand outside of football and basketball. And now I'm like, I'm working on some things with outside of football, basketball, and tennis, and I'm looking at other sports now. So 2020, y'all check your girl out. We're going to be doing some things.
Yeah, I know you're going to jump into that 2020 vision covering sports all year long. And
Yes.
yeah, You mentioned you covered the WNBA, like
Yeah.
what was one of your memorable WNBA games that you covered throughout the year?
Wow. So I've only been covering the league for 2 seasons, and I will say 2018 was definitely the best season out of the two that I've covered so far. Um, and that I will definitely have to say, and I think a lot of Dallas Wing fans will agree with me. Um, the last home game of the season in 2018. It was the last time we would see Liz Cambage at home in a Wings uniform, and it was, you could tell she put her blood, sweat, and tears into that game. They made an exciting game out of Las Vegas Aces, ironically the team that she would get traded to. It was an amazing game because it came down to those are the last two teams that essentially were trying to vie for the last playoff spot, and they were playing that game. Yeah, it was an incredible experience. The crowd was going nuts. It was just mind blowing how great that game was. It's still the best pro game I've ever gone to. So
Wow,
yes,
that must have been incredible. And as somebody that's watched the WNBA, it's just incredible watching
yeah,
all these games taking place and being able to stand there as a freelance reporter for your own
yeah,
publication covering this stuff. It's just incredible. Now,
yes,
I don't know, but I got a chance to cover the big three earlier this year, interviewing Kenyon Martin, and interview so many different players in the big three. Like, it's just,
nice,
I've had, I mean, it's only for 1 week, but I've got a little taste of like what it's like to cover an actual sports and actual arena.
nice. That's
You,
awesome. I'm glad you had a
you
great
can't you can't really
experience.
touch that.
You can't.
Now,
You can't. I love seeing what Ice Cube's doing with the big three, and I think that shout out to Lisa Leslie and of course the hometown girl. Um, oh, I'm so sorry. Like Nancy Lieberman. I was like,
yeah, I was just
her
gonna
name is
say, you
like.
don't know Nancy Lehman's name? Oh man.
No, I had a brain fart. Yo, Nancy Lieberman is based here in Dallas, so shout out to her. I saw her not too long ago, and she had a lot of amazing things to say about even the beginning. She was the Detroit coach, the WNBA Detroit Shock. She was their coach at one point, and I believe it was their first season. And she really talked a little bit about what she did, her process when she hired people. So she has a lot to say, and she's just such a pioneer. I just shout out to her. Seeing them both win the big three back to back as head coaches, inspiring. Definitely inspiring.
Worthy to know. Now, on to what's been going on in the college basketball landscape. Excuse me, landscape. Which college basketball team do you think that people should watch out for this season?
UCLA.
Ooh,
Listen,
UCLA, really?
I mean, listen.
How far did they go in the How far did they go in the NCAA tournament last year? Oh, I forgot. We all know what happened. I don't need to say it. Come on. Why would you say UCLA?
I'm sorry. Listen, Caprice Dean is letting people know. She's putting everybody on notice. She's been putting people on notice. People just haven't been paying attention. And, yeah, I'm going to say I'm a little biased. She's from the Austin area where I'm from. But
Understandable.
she's doing her thing, and it's so great to finally see. Because I've been seeing UCLA building their program. They've been building and building. They've been picking up these. They've been getting these close games this past few seasons. They've been picking up some key wins over the past few seasons, and now they're in the top 25. They're going to break the top 10 very soon. You have, I think, they're currently ranked 11. Yeah, they're currently ranked 11, and they're undefeated. Um, they're gonna be. I'm telling you, the Pac-12 is already heavy this season. This is
The
only the
Pac-12 is
first
always
year.
healthy. They got all these great teams. The
No,
Pac-12, that's not just with women's basketball, but in all the major sports put together. They've always had stacked teams.
they really haven't. I mean, compared to past seasons, they're the heaviest they've been in a long time. Like people, they are that conference this season. They are that conference this season. That's what I'm saying. It's disappointing to see the Big 12. That's the conference I'm located in. Seeing the Big 12 slide the way they've been. Texas is doing poorly. They're out the top 25. And they've just been sliding gradually. TCU, though, I think TCU is another team that people need to look out for because, they've been getting some key wins. And, of course, Baylor, everybody talks about Baylor. I think Cox is still out, so I look forward to seeing what they do. I just know that the Big 12 is just not going to have, it's not as heavy as they've been in the past. Of course, everybody talks about the ACC. We already know they're cold, and the SEC. I'm excited to see my Tennessee Lady Vols back in the mix. Man, it's been a minute, but I'm happy to see them. They're undefeated right now, so college basketball is going to be exciting this year, man. I'm excited to see who.
Yeah, I know.
Especially over the past weekend with the Paradise Jam, that mixed everything up. That mixed
Okay.
everything up.
What were some of the most exciting things you see for the Paradise Jam last weekend?
I'm sorry, repeat the question?
What was some of the most exciting stuff that you managed to see at the Paradise Jam this past weekend?
Ironically, when you said see, nobody got to see anything unless they tuned into the internet and got to watch it. I unfortunately did not get to see any of the games because I just didn't have the access. But just especially too because it was such a busy week. But I will say, seeing Louisville win the Paradise Jam, I'm not surprised by that. I don't think too many people were, but I think it was anybody's tournament. There were a lot of close games. I was proud to see UT Arlington, which is where the Wings play. I was glad to see them in the mix. They were undefeated going in. But I think a lot of people weren't shocked either that Oregon. I think when Oregon beat the USA women's team.
Yeah, that was one of the most memorable games that happened this last month. Like,
Yes.
a lot of people were tuned into that game. I was like, wait, Oregon defeated U.S. women's basketball team. Aren't they supposed to be like one of the top teams in basketball landscape? Like, you lose to a college team. I mean, yeah, but you lose to a college team in a game. Get real, USA.
I mean, hey, at the end of the day, there's no doubt that the red, white, and blue is going to be standing with gold around their neck and in their mouth come summer 2020.
Yeah, of course. They're gonna win the Olympics in 2020. That is nothing. But this is a conversation we can save for another time because the Olympics is literally next summer.
Yes.
But we could just get to another topic. Like, what about the men's side of college basketball?
Now you're starting to talk outside of my lane a little bit. I haven't really been following much men's basketball. I haven't really. I'm not even gonna lie. I haven't really been following much because there's been a lot of women's basketball that's been dominating right now. And not keep in mind too, with football still very much in season, I've also been following more college football right now than I have because.
Yeah, you talking about the college football where the Alabama Crimson Tide got knocked out? Their streaks in the national championships come to an end.
Insane.
That was just nuts. And they missed the late. And you talk about the one that missed the late second field goal. Oh man, I mean, college football has some good games. I mean, you can't sleep on it. When you turn to the highlights, you see something crazy happening in college football. All those overtimes, all those back and forth exchange. It's just, why can't the NFL be like that? All those ties in the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh man, like, okay. Which 4 college football teams do you want to see duke it out for the national championship in January?
Okay. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with. We got LSU.
Okay.
LSU for sure. Ohio State. Clemson.
Okay.
I want to see my Oklahoma Sooners in there, but I know they're not going to be, so I'm going to go ahead and go with Georgia.
Okay. Well, Oklahoma Sooners can get in too. Just keep the faith. They could actually put in some runs. Like, why do you say those 4 teams? Why?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Like, why you say those 4? Why LSU is one of your 4 teams to look out for in the national championship selection?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they deserve to be there. That's really what it comes down to. They deserve. There are a lot of teams that deserve. I mean, I shouldn't say a lot. There are about what 4 or 5 teams that just deserve to be there. I mean, Ohio State plays amazing football on both. I mean, obviously on both ends, especially with Chase Young. I mean, incredible talent. He's definitely impressed me all season. LSU, their quarterback Burrow, that kid is ridiculous. He's really. I mean, he really is amazing. I look forward to seeing what he does at the next level. But I'm trying to think. Like Georgia has just been consistently good, the past few seasons. So I feel like they have not let up, and I think Clemson's just going to give us a good game. Like whoever they play is just going to be a really good game. Like I really want to see. I'm hoping Oklahoma can change somebody's mind come next weekend at the Big 12 championship matchup against Baylor next weekend. But
So,
I know they'll.
hey, they got a chance to make it. All they have to do is just take out Baylor and they're in. But that quarterback you met.
So, man, I certainly hope it's that easy.
But that quarterback you mentioned earlier in the conversation, that is something that the New York Giants need when they tanking for the 2020 NFL draft. And that's what we're going to jump the shift to. Like, what are your thoughts about the way the Giants and Jets have played in last few months of the NFL season?
I just know that the Giants have struggled. Their organization has been struggling. I know that they definitely have been struggling with quarterback woes, especially with Eli, them benching Eli, and I know that they've been trying. I mean, because I think they have a decent receivers. I just know that they need a quarterback, like you said.
Man, both New York teams need a quarterback because Sam Darnold, he couldn't even hold his own against a Cincinnati Bengals team who was freaking winless. 0-11, you lose to Cincinnati. Oh man! And you actually had a winning streak, and you had one of the easiest games you have in your schedule. But you know what? It's football. Anybody can be anybody, regardless of the record. But just like this podcast can pretty much end at any time, like it's sadly going to do right now. Thank you for tuning in to Nothing But That Sports Talk. And me and my special guest at this time, Jasmine, you've been a very good inspiration to the sports broadcasting landscape. And I hope you continue progressing your career.
Thank you, sir. You best of luck with you.
Yeah. And the Pac-12 should be a very interesting matchup.
Yes.
And so,
Stay tuned.
yeah. It's all the college and pros athletes out there. Get your head in the game.